What's up, guys? My name is Nabil, and I'm the Java Education Officer for MISSO for the Spring 2017 semester, and welcome to MISSO Survival Guide to Java. Now, I know that name sounds a little bit dramatic, but it's just that. It's just a guide to give you some kind of guidance throughout the class to make sure you get the most out of the class, make sure you learn the most out of Java, and kind of how to survive it and how to get an A in the class, because that obviously is the end goal. So this is just an introductory video to the video series. I'm going to be making a bunch of videos over every chapter, kind of laying out examples of how to code different things that are mentioned in the chapter, and just briefly cover the concepts of every chapter to give you a little bit of understanding into what's going to be discussed in the specific chapter. So in this introductory video specifically, I've kind of laid out what I'm going to talk about. I'll briefly introduce myself, tell you what to expect from this survival guide, and finally touch on how to get an A in this class. I think it's totally doable. I think anyone can get an A in the class as long as you put in enough time and effort into learning the material. So to get started, that handsome gentleman right there is me. My name is Nabil Chauhan, like I said. I'm the Java Education Officer for MISSO, and I've kind of just laid out my contact information. One thing I really want to stress to you guys this semester is don't hesitate to contact me at all if you have any questions. I'm here kind of to serve you guys, to make sure you guys get the most out of this class and get the best grades possible. So I've laid out my phone number. You can call me, FaceTime me, whatever is most convenient. I have my email right there, java@misso.org. If you ever have any questions, shoot me an email. If you guys have never heard of Slack before, Slack is something that we're doing completely new this semester in MISSO. It's kind of like a group messaging service, kind of similar to GroupMe or WhatsApp, where you can create different channels and whatnot. And one thing specifically that I like this semester that we're doing with Slack is that there's going to be education channels, so you can join whatever channel, whatever class you're in, whether you're in Java, database, or TP. You just join the channel and you can ask each other questions. You can ask me questions. I think that's probably the best way to reach out to me, is probably through Slack. So I highly, highly encourage you guys to join the Slack channel, join the Java channel specifically, and the more people we get in there, the better it will be, because we can ask each other questions, and I'll be able to reach everyone and answer everyone's questions. We'll talk a little bit more about Slack. I'll show you how to sign up. Finally, my LinkedIn. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, feel free to do that. If you connect with me, I'll endorse your skills. So Slack. So I'm going to show you guys how to sign up to Slack and how to join the Java channel specifically. So you want to go to this link right here, misso.signup.team. So let's do that real quick. We'll go to misso.signup.team. And so when you get to this web page, you'll see that it prompts you to enter your email address right here. So just go ahead and enter your email address, hit join, and then whenever you do that, you should get an email that looks like this. Hit join team, and it'll take you to the Slack channel. And if you don't have a Slack account, it'll prompt you to create an account. So whatever your name is, just enter that in. Your username, whatever you want it to be. So just go ahead and create your account. Create whatever password. I agree. Once all of this is done, so you'll get to the MISSO Slack. So once you get in, you'll automatically be joined into a couple of channels. So the announcements channel and kind of like the general channel where you can just talk to people. So if you go to announcements, kind of just MISSO's going to give you different announcements. Random is just like a general chat. You can talk about whatever you want. But what I want to tell you guys is to join the Java channel. So if you just hit channels over here, it'll show you all the channels that are available in the MISSO Slack. So as soon as the channels pop up, you'll see what channels you can join. So right here we have database, Java, TP. So you're going to want to go to Java and just hit join the channel. So once you're in the channel, you can say whatever you want. Hi guys. So this is where we're going to be communicating. If you guys want, please join the channel. This is the best way to reach out to me. This is how I'm going to be able to answer your questions, and probably the easiest way to reach out to me. So definitely join our Slack channel, the Java channel. So just getting back to the contents of this video, I'm going to kind of talk about what to expect from this survival guide. Like I said, it's going to be kind of a video series where I break down every chapter, the concepts of the chapter, and then if there's like some coding involved in the chapter, I'll definitely do some coding examples, break them down for you guys, kind of just to prepare you for the quizzes and the exams. I'll also be doing review videos, probably over the quizzes and the exams, kind of break down every question, how to approach taking the quiz, how to break down the quiz, how to read the instructions, kind of translate it into code. So just a bunch of tips that I'll be giving on the quizzes and the exams in my videos. So make sure you watch the videos and keep up with them. I'm also going to be doing what are called survival workshops. So in the past, MISSO has conducted workshops for every quiz and every exam, just review workshops, where we have these workshops right before the quiz and right before the exam in order to prepare you guys for the quizzes and the exams. But one thing I'm changing is that I want to include even more workshops in addition to the review workshops. So they're going to be kind of midway between the quiz, before the quiz, obviously. So midway between there, we're going to have what are called survival workshops, and I'm going to kind of just briefly make sure everyone is on track, make sure everyone knows what's going on in the class, just to kind of cater to the people who maybe haven't programmed before and just want to learn more. So definitely come out to the survival workshops if you feel like the class ever gets a little bit overwhelming. So in addition to the survival workshops, you come out to those. We'll talk about what is going on in class and kind of teach everything to you, so that when you actually do come out to the review workshops, it's not you catching up, but rather it's you reviewing the material in the class. So survival workshops are a great thing. Definitely come out to them if you ever feel overwhelmed in class. And we'll be sending out the the dates for that, and I'll talk about it in Slack, and we'll send it out in our newsletter. So definitely subscribe to the MISSO newsletter if you're not already subscribed to that. So finally, I want to talk about how this guide isn't a replacement to going to class. Obviously, it's just a supplement to the class. I think in order to get the most out of these videos, I think you should watch the videos before going to class. I'm sure your professors have already told you to read the textbook before going to class, just so you can kind of keep up with it. I think this could act maybe as a good replacement for the textbook. So instead of reading the textbook, you just watch these videos before going to class, kind of cover everything in the chapter, so when you get to class, you'll be ready for the daily problems. You'll know exactly what your professor is talking about. So I highly recommend to watch the videos before going to class, and maybe before the quizzes and exams, and just kind of keep up with the class, because that's one thing about this class, is that you have to be able to keep up with it. If you ever fall behind, it becomes extremely difficult to catch up, and from there you'll see your grades might start slipping a little bit. So definitely stay on top of the videos, stay on top of the work you have to do in this class. So that's just kind of an overview of the survival guide specifically that I created this semester. So now I kind of want to talk about the class itself. Now, I know when people come into Java, they hear a lot of terrible things about it, how it's extremely difficult, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This class is actually pretty difficult, like compared to other business classes, So if you're the type of student who is in these marketing and management classes and maybe studies the night before or the morning of and expects to get a really good grade, and maybe you can do that, but it's definitely not going to fly in this class. One thing about me is I was actually that kind of student who would just study the night before, and I tried to do that in Java expecting to get a good grade on the quizzes and the exams. I definitely did not do that the first time I took it, so I actually had to drop the class and take it again the next semester, and kind of approached it with a new mindset of kind of staying with an open mind and just working really hard to learn what's being taught in the class. And that's probably the best way to get an A in Java, is just keep up with the material and just make sure you're not slacking. So the first tip is obviously go to class. But not only go to class, make sure when you're in class, you're really paying attention to what your professor is talking about. And a lot of that kind of has to do with keeping up with the course material. So maybe just watching these videos, or just using your textbook as a reference, or reading the slides before going to class. Just go to class and pay attention. And I mean, you should be going to class anyway because you have to do the daily problems. But once you're in class, definitely listen to what the professor is saying. That's the only way you're going to get the most out of this class. Like I said, watch my videos, read the textbook before going to class, and definitely absolutely don't fall behind. If you fall behind, you'll see that it's kind of difficult to catch up. So just kind of, stay on top of the material and make sure that you're learning the stuff that's being taught in class. Good ways to not fall behind, obviously, is, coming prepared to class. Also, you're going to want to do well on the daily problems at the beginning of the semester. So a little tip is that, The problems are pretty easy at the beginning of the semester. The coding is a lot simpler at the beginning of the semester. So make sure, if you're ever going to be prepared, if you're ever going to slack off towards the end. Definitely not in the beginning, because that's when you can get the easy A's, the easy grades on your daily problems. So make sure that you're keeping up with the stuff at the beginning of the semester. Come prepared in the beginning of the semester so that you can get really good grades on the daily problems, so that when the end of the semester comes around, you don't really have to catch up and make up for the loss in the beginning of the semester. Now, one thing I really want to stress also is studying for the quizzes and the exams really early, so maybe like a week in advance or a week and a half in advance. So if you're the type of student that maybe doesn't really study in advance, maybe use this class as an opportunity to do that, because I think it's extremely crucial that you are on top of being really well prepared and coming to class. You have to start studying early, because this is not the type of class where you can just study a few nights before and expect to do well. It requires a lot of practice, a lot of learning. So if you give yourself that time to study and put in the work, then you'll see the results will be 10 times better than the opposite, and just kind of studying a couple of days before. So especially for the quizzes, definitely give yourself time to study for the quizzes, and make sure you do practice quizzes that are online. Just make sure you do as much coding as you can in order to prepare yourself for the quizzes, and that's kind of why we're having the survival workshops, to make sure that you are keeping up with it and you are actually practicing coding. And that kind of leads me to the next point, is that you definitely have to practice coding. If you're new to programming, then you'll know, it's kind of difficult to grasp what's being taught. And learning a programming language is a lot like learning like a new language. Like if you're learning Spanish or French, you're not just going to learn it by reading it in a textbook. That'll give you a really basic understanding of what the language is. But in order to actually become an expert at the language, you have to practice it. And the same goes for coding. So if you want to get really good at coding and really good at programming, you have to practice it constantly, and that's the only way you're going to get better. So these quizzes where you're hand coding, you have to get really good at coding, and the only way you get good at it is by putting in time and the practice. So definitely practice coding through the quizzes, through the assignments. Just stay on top of that aspect of this class. And then on top of that, come out to the MISSO review workshop. So I know we're going to be doing these survival workshops where, I'm just checking that everyone's up to date with what's going on in class and kind of teaching people. But when quiz and exam time comes around, you're going to want to review that material, and we do a lot of reviews in our workshops. They're like 3 hours long. So if you come out to the workshops, the survival workshops, you'll at least grasp the material. So then when the review workshop comes around, you'll be able to just review the material. So that's kind of how I'm mapping the semester out. Hopefully that works out. So definitely come out to the review workshops if you want to be as well prepared as you can for the quizzes and the exams. And then finally, become a part of the online community through Slack and ask for help when you need it. One thing that we haven't really done in the past is that we've never had or catered to an online community through MISSO that a Java education officer has actually led. So I'm really excited about Slack. If you're able to join it and ask me questions, I'll be really happy, because that's the easiest way for me to answer your questions. So instead of just emailing people, which is extremely tedious, I can just answer one question and reach a bunch of people by answering that question. So definitely join Slack and ask your questions if you need help. If you ever become overwhelmed, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Like I said, I'm here to serve you guys and make sure you guys get good grades in this class. So ask for help when you need it. That's about all. That's all the tips I can give you for how to get an A in Java. Some of them might be kind of cliche, but I think they're definitely worth noting and definitely worth keeping up with. So that's it, guys. Bye.